All right. Shalom. Paul Lord Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Makakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and salutations to all the brothers and hopefully elect out there that's pushing this truth. This video is going to be the war within, which on throughout your daily walk in this life, especially in this truth, you're constantly warring against your flesh. Your spirit and your flesh are constantly at odds with each other, because your flesh wants to do what's pleasing unto it, while your spirit wants to do what pleases the Most High. What pleases the Most High. So, and you know, the things that are pleasing to the flesh are destructive to the spirit, and vice versa. The things that are pleasing unto the Most High, which will be pleasing to your spirit, are destructive to the flesh. Because when you feed more into the spirit, your flesh dies off, and when you feed more into the flesh, your spirit dies off. So, I just also want to give a little salutation and exhortation to those who might be struggling with this. Just give you a little hope, because you can easily become distracted by the things of this world, the things of this earth, from your job, your family, your whatever you do in your leisure time. You got to check that too, because everything can literally become a distraction and begin to feed your flesh and diminish your spirit. So once again, you got to constantly stay hopeful. You got to constantly stay praying and fasting and feeding and reading in order to feed your spirit. So I want to read how Paul was describing this war with the flesh in Romans the 7th chapter. This is Romans the 7th chapter. I'm going to start at verse 1. Know ye not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law, how the law hath dominion over a man as long as he liveth. For the woman which hath an husband is bound by the law to her husband, so long as he liveth. But if the husband is dead, she is loosed from the law of her husband. And if you actually want to think about that in a spiritual sense, Yahweh Shai is our husband, and we are, as Israelites, we're the bride, and we are bound to our husband, which is Yahweh Shai, as long as he liveth, and he lives, and he's not dead. So we are still bound by the law to our husband, which is Yahweh Shai. That's just in a spiritual sense. So then, if while her husband liveth, she be married to another man, she shall be called an adulteress. But, and what did we do? We went and played the harlot. We committed adultery on our husband, which was Yahweh Shai, by going and worshiping these other idols and taking on the gods of these other nations. But if her husband be dead, she is free from the law, so that she is no adulteress, though she be married to another man. Wherefore, my brethren, ye also are become dead to the law by the body of Hamashiach, that ye should be married to another, even to him who is raised from the dead, that we should bring forth fruit unto the Most High. For when we were in the flesh, the motions of sin, which were by the law, did work in our members, to bring forth fruit unto death. So he's right. The things that are pleasing to the flesh are deadly. What the scripture say? The wages of sin is death. But that's why we die. That's why in the kingdom of heaven, when the law is written in our members, in our heart, we're not gonna die. We're gonna have everlasting life, because we will no longer be bound by. We will no longer be in bondage to sin. But now we are delivered from the law, that being dead wherein we were held, that we should serve in newness of spirit and not in the oldness of the letter. Now he's just stating the fact that now Christians might use this to say, oh, well, you don't have to keep the law. No, he's not saying you don't have to keep the law. He's just saying that we are delivered from the curse of the law. Meaning, if we had to be bound by the letter of the law, there's no way we can keep it all. That's why Yahushua had to come. Verse 7, what shall we say then? Is the law sin? Most High forbid. Nay, I had not known sin but by the law. That's why the law is important, because you can't know what sin is unless you know the law. And what's that? 1 John 3 and 4. Whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law, for sin is the transgression of the law. For I had not known lust, except the law had said, thou shalt not covet. But sin, taking occasion by the commandment, wrought in me all manner of concupiscence. For without the law, sin was dead. For I was alive without the law once, but when the commandment came, sin revived, and I died. And the commandment which was ordained to life, I found to be unto death. For sin, taking occasion by the commandment, deceived me, and by it slew me. Wherefore the law is holy, and the commandment holy, and just, and good. So the law is good. The law is holy. The law is perfect and good, which is why the law still will be in effect in the kingdom of heaven, which is why it will be written in us, because it is good. Was then that which is good made death unto me? Most High forbid. But sin, that it might appear sin, working death in me by that which is good, that sin by the commandment might become exceeding sinful. So the problem is sin. The problem is breaking the law. That's why it leads to death. Not the law is not death, but sin is death. Breaking the law is death. For we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin. So the law is spiritual, but this flesh fights against the law, because the flesh wants to do what's pleasing to itself. For that which I do, I allow not. For what I would, that do I not. But what I hate, that do I. And if then I do that which I would not, I consent unto the law that is good. Now then it is no more that I that do it, but sin that dwelleth in me. And we deal with that on a daily basis. We constantly keeping our mind on the Most High to the best of our abilities, keeping our hearts toward Him. But because it is flesh, which the Yashawamba from Dallas, he said the flesh is the ultimate scoffer, which is true. The flesh is gonna scoff against the spirit, because that's what it's gonna do. So it's like no matter how hard you try to stay on point, you're going to fall. You're going to break the law, no matter what. No matter how much you think about it, no matter how much you, dwell yourself into keeping mind and meditating the law, you're gonna go off. That's why Scripture says we make that change and we offend less. We're not gonna be perfect, but you're gonna get better day by day. That's the whole goal. For I know that in me, that is in my flesh, dwelleth no good thing. For to will is present with me, but how to perform that which is good I find not. So the will is there to do well, to keep the law, but the flesh, it is like it prevents us from keeping the law holy. And that's why we got to be saved. That's why we got to, Yahushua got to come back for us. That's why we got to get these new bodies, because in this current state, we can't keep it. We can't be perfect in no way, shape, form, or fashion because of this current flesh. For the good that I would, I do not, but the evil which I would not, that I do. Now, if I do that I would not, it is no more I that do it, but sin that dwelleth in me. I find then a law that when I would do good, evil is present with me. And the elect are going to have that spirit within them to know, man, I'm going off. I'm going too far. You know, I got to do better. But for those who don't have that spirit in them, they're just gonna go about their merry way and not even care about the law. Uh, for I delight in the law of the Most High after the inward man. But I see another law in my members, warring against the law of my mind, and bringing me into captivity to the law of sin, which is in my members. O wretched man that I am, who shall deliver me from the body of this death? I thank the Most High through Yahushua Mashiach our Lord. So then, with the mind, I myself serve the law of the Most High, but with the flesh, the law of sin. And that's why this flesh has to die off, because this flesh can't go into the kingdom of heaven. We have to have a new body, because we can't keep the law. Like I said, on this side, the law won't save you, but breaking the law will get you destroyed. The Manata Zakba always says that, which is actually so very true, because people feel as if the law can't save you, then what's the point of keeping the law? But if the law was pleasing unto the Most High, the law is your standard of judgment. And how can we be the judges of Israel, as Yahushua stated, if we don't know the law, if we're not even practicing the law? Right now we're rehearsing the righteous acts, for getting it right in the kingdom. Like I said earlier, man, you can get distracted by so much, especially with your leisure time. That's that spirit. That's that spirit of Satan coming over you. Have you not take things seriously. It's so much things that you fight against within your flesh and within your mind and your heart and what you're trying to do. On your job, things always coming up. You want to go out and teach. You want to, push these videos. Things are just, you want to study. You want to read more. All these different things, and in this life, always comes up to distract you, and you gotta watch that. You gotta really, really watch it, because it's easy to get distracted. I'm telling you from personal testimony on that one. But just know that you're fighting. You're literally warring in the flesh. It's the war within. Your spirit is warring with your flesh, and don't let your flesh win. Let that flesh die. Put that flesh off. Spend more time in His Word, reading, studying, watching videos, doing videos. Watching the elders and apostles on down, uplifting the brotherhood. Just being a better brother. That's just what it's all about, man. So whoever it was for, hopefully it was edifying. Most High allowed me to bring it out. Once again, call the water Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, call law Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. So I hope you were edified. Shalom.